You have a gut feeling it's time to do something different. Being stuck at home in quarantine for a few months, your house is getting a little tight, there's a lot of things that need to be done, your home office is your kitchen. But like everything, you can justify why you can make it work. So today we're talking about why you should sell or shouldn't sell your home this summer. And there's several common hang-ups that people get when they're trying to justify why they should or shouldn't do something. So today we're just going to help you get over some of those or clarify some of those. Hi, welcome to Breakfast with Bev. I'm Cheryl.
I'm Bev, and we're here this morning to hopefully provide you some good information.
So one objection we get commonly is, well, what if I sell now this summer and next year my home's worth more? What if I'm not timing it best?
Well, I think my answer always to that is your home is an asset. Kind of think of it as a forced savings plan. And so I can actually kind of relate to that myself because Alan and I are all of a sudden, we found the right property and I never thought we were going to move. And we've got our home improved to where we really wanted it to be. And now we're taking that leap and actually selling our home and buying another. And so my take on that is we're just moving our asset vehicle from one home to the next. So just like the home that we're currently in could be the value could be a little bit higher next year, so is probably the vehicle that we're also taking it to, because I'm thinking that home will actually probably appreciate a little bit better, just for the fact of amenities, location, all of the different things that bundle into a property. So think of it as, I think it's almost more about the interest rate aspect of it all, because right now your home might be more at the height of the pricing, but it's also because the demand has driven that up, because there's also more buyers that now can afford your home. And as supply and demand work their way out, it keeps inching up the prices. And that's exactly what we want, but it's all relative because you're transferring one asset to another.
Yeah, so I mean, if the market goes up next year or if it goes down, your money's going to do the same thing. It's just going to be in a different place.
That's exactly right. And just make certain that the place that you park it is a good vehicle, that that you don't have a train track behind your backyard or a busy highway in your backyard or a big commercial tower in your backyard. Or when you're thinking of real estate and moving your asset from one place to another, make certain that you've got good buffers around you and that that you're buying in good schools, good location, good amenities, good floor plan. All of that factors into basically your overall asset and the demand and basically the appreciation.
Yeah. And so another hang up, especially this year, I think in March, everybody was like, oh my God, am I going to have a job? Am I going to lose all my money? And maybe you don't qualify. What if I don't qualify for a home this year? What if I'm at risk of losing my job because things are just so uncertain, and we are in an uncertain time this year?
Well, that's an excellent question, I have to say. And that is one that, I hate to say it, it kind of reverts back to it depends. Because if you feel like that your job is unstable, you certainly don't want to take a leap and be very fearful about it, make a mistake and not be able to follow through, or no one wants to be house poor. And I think that's where you need to be very cautious, because sometimes it's all about timing. Maybe you see the perfect house and maybe interest rates are low, but if the job situation is not stable where you feel comfortable with that, then it's time to sit it out. It's not always about taking the plunge, because all of the ingredients in the mix have to be correct in order to make it right to do. But it's also the flip side of that. We've also had some sellers that have contacted us and said, ooh, our jobs are not the most stable. I think we need to be a little bit more liquid right now. We may have to take a job transfer down the road. It might be later this fall. It might be in the spring. I think we need to cash out. Mm-hmm. Let's sell our home. Let's go to a 6-month or 1-year rental, set it out for a little bit, and take a little reprieve. Mm-hmm. And or sometimes it's maybe downsizing to say, we're in this large home. Our kids are kind of pretty much out the door. We don't need this much space. Our jobs are a little uncertain right now. Or maybe they're on the verge of retirement where they're like, ooh, if it gets a little sticky and we don't want to hang into the workforce, we just might decide it's time for us to go ahead and take early retirement. So keeping yourself to where you're liquid is also something, depending on the timing and depending on your situation, is something to consider. So it goes both ways as far as sizing up and sizing down, and even sitting it out in the rental pool for a little bit.
Well, yeah, and just with like downsizing, there is such little inventory that it might be a better time to do it now than wait. You know, if you are thinking in a few years I want to downsize, maybe right now is a good time because there is uncertainty.
There is. And I think too, you can look at this from two perspectives, because if you are a seller and you have the itch or it makes sense to move, then it's a good time to sell.
Yeah.
If all the ingredients in the little bowl are all perfectly aligned, then sell. It's a good thing. But it's also on the flip side, if you're a buyer, someday you will be a seller. And if you're in a market that's got short supply, and you've got people that are paying well above what the list price is, the market is up and down. It's just like the stock market. It's never completely always on the rise. It does fumble and plummet a few times, but it always corrects itself out. That's why real estate is a long-term investment. So for a buyer, you may say, timing isn't right for me. I think I do need to set it out. And it may be in your best interest, even if interest rates are higher next year. It still may be a better decision to sit it out on the sidelines, let all these other people overpay, and then when they become a seller and the market corrects out, guess what? You could be in a situation where you could take advantage of getting a good price and start your equity bases, at a good place.
Yeah.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Well, I think it's the thing, they always tease real estate agents. The market's great right now. Well, it's great for someone, but it's also really bad for someone. And I think in any given situation, any given market, that's always the case. It's always going to be great for somebody and it's always going to be bad for somebody.
I would totally agree with that. It's never great and perfect for everyone. Because, if somebody, if a great listing comes on the market and somebody snatches it, guess what? That could have been a situation for the other person that just lost their job or just lost a family member, or, who knows what the situation might be. So, yes, I would agree. It's like it's never perfect for everybody all at the same time.
So, another, and going off of agents saying the market's great, you need to sell right now. My friend who's a real estate agent told me I should definitely sell right now.
Okay. My friend who is a real estate agent says I should definitely sell right now. Well, first of all, probably doing business with a friend. I'm a firm believer in this. You guys have heard me say this many times. Working with friends and family in the real estate business is not always the best little cup of tea. And I'm not saying that they don't have your best interest at heart, but I do think you need a third-party objective opinion on what the real estate market is really doing. Is it really in your best interest? And if you have your friend that gives you their synopsis of it, what they think is going on, and you get two more opinions from other unrelated realtors in the business that give you the same information, then I would say, absolutely. Your friend is probably giving you great advice. But if you have two different other people, realtor perspectives, that their indication of what's going on in the market doesn't size up with that, that's probably then where I would probably have my antennas up to say, I'm not so sure. Maybe we should kind of set this one out or wait it out. So I always think, it's up to you if you want to use a family member or a friend. I just know for me, it's kind of one of my little rules that it's like, I just feel like it's better off to have a little distance on that. But if you do decide to do that, just back it up with some other factual information from other third-party individuals, and there's your answer. So.
Yeah. And I have to make a lot of costly repairs in order to sell for as much as I would like.
also think with that statement, we do. However, what some people think is costly and what others think is costly is kind of on two different spectrums. If we're talking foundation repairs, I don't care what the market's doing or how great the market's going and the supply and demand, if there's a shortage. If you have a foundation that has issues that either needs piering or is leaking or, it's blatant that you have foundation issues, those are going to be repairs that you're more than likely going to have to correct in any given market. And if you do not, then you're going to be giving a substantial discount on the property to compensate for those repairs. If it's something like, kind of got some tacky wallpaper in my dining room still, it's kind of out of date, or, like in my home, we didn't get around to updating all the colors, in the basement, but all the other components were great, then that's something that's a little bit more cosmetic. If you do the work yourself, not so costly. If you hire it out, could be a little costly. So that's where I think it's just a matter of sticking to the basics. It's like at the end of the day, a decluttered, clean home goes a very long way. And if there are repairs such as a fireplace maybe that you haven't used in years and maybe the liner is bad and you need some tuck pointing done on the chimney area, those are things that you can work around and probably give either a price reduction on it, disclose it up front, maybe in the market that we're in, it's not that important to the buyer, or you can always have a check cut from your proceeds directly to the fireplace repairman and dealt with. So I wouldn't hold up for things like that, but if you have termites, it's a given. You need to treat it. It needs to get taken care of before it becomes a real issue. If you have radon, yes, you need to fix it. That's something that's a health concern. If you have safety items that needs to be done, more than likely that's going to get called out in inspection. They're going to require you to do that. Other things, though, that are more cosmetic, probably not so much. Those things can definitely be worked around.
Yeah. So those are some common objections we get, and there's a lot more, and everybody has their own questions. So if you're still unsure about what you should do in this market, just give us a call, because we deal with this all the time, and we have a lot of answers. At least we can lead you in the right direction.
Well, I think just our years of experience in the business, we've come across many different scenarios that you might have or that might be puzzling to you, but that we deal with on a regular basis. But keep in mind that, real estate, as far as buying or selling, it's very to the individual. It really depends on what's going on in your life, what your kind of whole family dynamics are, what your goals are that you're trying to accomplish. And it might be a great time for somebody to buy or sell. It may not be a good time for you to buy or sell. So, that's where I think having a real estate professional to come out, kind of size up your situation, hear your story, what you're trying to accomplish, can give you great insight so that you can make a good informed decision.
Yeah. So if you're thinking of selling this summer, give us a call and we'll point you in the right direction.
Thanks for joining in, guys. Hope you had a wonderful 4th of July holiday. Prepare for the heat, and we'll see you next week.